For anyone who might be slightly rusty on their Mediterranean geography, um, Ceuta is this tiny, I think it's like a 7 square mile Spanish enclave.
Yeah, just about 7 square miles.
Right, and it sits right on the northern tip of Morocco. So it is essentially a European border that physically shares land with Africa.
Which creates a really unique geopolitical choke point.
For sure. So in May 2021, the dataset shows that Ceuta experienced an influx of roughly 8,000 to 12,000 migrants.
Right.
And that movement happened over a window of about 2 to 3 days.
And we should pause there because moving 10,000 people across a highly secured border over 48 to 72 hours, that is already a massive logistical event.
Oh, totally. That's a small town moving for it.
Exactly. It strains the border guards. It strains the local infrastructure, the emergency services. I mean, it is a major disruption.
Right.
But it's a disruption that unfolds at a pace where authorities can at least somewhat perceive the flow and attempt to manage the physical space.
Yeah, they have a minute to breathe and react. But then you jump 5 years forward in the data set, July 2026.
Yeah.
The numbers don't just increase. They literally break the scale entirely. We go from that 10,000 range straight up to between 50,000 and 60,000 people.
It's just a massive leap.
And I was looking at this, and my first thought was honestly to question the physical geography. Like, how do you even physically fit 5 times the amount of people into the exact same geographical bottleneck?
Well, what's fascinating here is that you hit on the most critical variable in the entire data set. And it isn't just the 5-fold increase in volume.
Okay, what is it then?
It's the time frame compression. The source explicitly notes that this movement of up to 60,000 people occurred primarily within a 24 to 48-hour window.
Wow. Wait, really?
Yes. Think about the physics of that for a second. You have an influx that is 500% larger than the 2021 event happening in essentially half the time.
That's almost impossible to visualize.
Right, because the border infrastructure of Ceuta, the fences, the roads, the checkpoint gates, the surrounding beaches, they remain static. The physical funnel didn't get any wider between 2021 and 2026.
Right, the funnel stayed the exact same size.
Yeah.
But the volume of water poured into it just turned into a tidal wave.
Exactly. And when you pour an ocean into a funnel meant for a garden hose, the water doesn't speed up to accommodate the space.
No, it backs up.
It backs up, it overflows, it creates massive, completely unmanageable pressure at the neck. The boundaries of that physical space are forced to absorb this, just exponential increase in kinetic energy.
I was actually trying to visualize the difference on the ground while reading this because
Yeah.
moving 10,000 people over 3 days is basically the equivalent of like emptying out a small university campus over a long weekend.
Okay, yeah, that's a good comparison.
Like, it's crowded, traffic is going to be bad, there's a lot of noise, but there is a flow. You can manage it. But moving 60,000 people in 24 hours,
It's a totally different ballgame.
it's like teleporting that sold-out baseball stadium we talked about.
Yeah.
It's entirely instantaneous. The authorities aren't managing a flow at that point. They're just trying to survive an impact.
Right. It ceases to be a management issue entirely. It becomes an immediate crisis of physical space. And that physical reality, that sudden, overwhelming crowding of the space, that brings us to the darkest, most sobering row in our data set.
Yeah, the human toll. And the casualty data here shows a really brutal contrast. For the 2021 event, our source material records very few deaths.
Mm-hmm.
But for the 2026 event, the casualty count spikes dramatically to, quote, dozens to roughly 100 deaths.
It's a staggering jump.
It really is. But, 60,000 people don't just spontaneously decide to walk to a border checkpoint on a random Tuesday.
Right. Something has to trigger it.
Exactly. Let's look at 2021 first. The dataset defines the main trigger for May 2021 as, quote, Spain treating Polisario leader.
Right.
Now, for anyone who doesn't spend their weekends reading up on North African geopolitics, we probably need a tiny bit of context here.
Definitely. It's a bit complicated.
Yeah, so the Polisario Front is a political and military organization seeking independence for Western Sahara. Morocco, however, claims Western Sahara as its own sovereign territory and views the Polisario Front as a direct threat. So in 2021, Spain secretly brought a prominent Polisario leader into their country for medical treatment.
Right. And when Morocco found out about this, it created an immediate high-level diplomatic fracture.
I can imagine.
Morocco felt totally undermined by Spain. So in response, Morocco essentially looked the other way at the Ceuta border.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they relaxed their enforcement on their side of the fence, allowing thousands of migrants to cross into the Spanish enclave.
So it's classic old-school statecraft.
Yeah.
Action A causes reaction B.
Exactly.
Spain offends Morocco, so Morocco applies pressure to Spain's most vulnerable geographic pressure point. It's a direct, calculated lever being pulled by a state actor.
It is entirely analog. It relies on a singular diplomatic friction point. The state eases the border, word slowly spreads on the ground, and over 2 to 3 days, you get that 10,000 people mobilizing.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because then we look at the trigger for 2026, and it is a completely different beast.
Oh, completely.
The source material doesn't list a single diplomatic spat. It lists this sort of three-part cocktail. It says, court ruling plus social media plus Morocco easing controls.
Right.
This isn't a simple lever anymore. It's like a chain reaction. You have a legal shift, a court ruling that alters the perception of the border's vulnerability. You have a physical opening, Morocco once again easing border controls. And crucially, you have a digital accelerant, which is social media. So to summarize the through line here, in 2021, the tactic was highly effective, but bound by the limits of analog communication.
Right.
It yielded 10,000 people over a few days.
Right.
The physical space could, somewhat absorb it. But by 2026, that exact same tactic had been married to the speed of modern digital networks.
And the result was catastrophic.
Yeah. A catastrophic compression of time that totally overwhelmed the physical environment, resulting in that horrific spike in fatalities we talked about.
It forces us to realize that border security and international diplomacy can no longer just account for physical logistics. They have to account for network effects now.
Oh, absolutely.
If a state actor knows that easing a border control will result in an algorithmic mobilization of 60,000 people in just 24 hours, that totally changes the calculus of global statecraft.
Yeah, it changes everything.
The data set proves that the threat isn't just the sheer number of people, it is the velocity at which they can be directed to a single point on a map.
And it leaves me with one final thought, something I really want you to mull over as you go about your day.
Okay.
We've seen how the addition of social media and eased controls compressed a massive migration event of 60,000 people into a mere 24 hours today. The speed of light essentially dictated the speed of human movement.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens the next time this tactic is deployed in the future? Have we actually reached the upper physical limit of how fast a border crisis can materialize? Or is 24 hours just the new terrifying baseline?